We spoke to the cast of the brand new Netflix series Three Body Problem. Check out our conversation with Jess Hong and Jovan Adepo.
Fantastic. First of all, congratulations on the show. I wanted to ask the both of you what your first encounter with the novel was like. I mean, I'm a big sci-fi geek, and so reading those books for the first time kind of blew me away. And did you know about it before, or did you only come to it after you got the roles? What was that story?
Yeah, we both read it afterwards, right?
Yeah, I feel like it was like that for all of the Oxford Five. Once the opportunity for the show was presented to us, I think that's when we all deep dove into the books, which is a great tool to have. I think that David, Dan, and Alex did their homework, and the fact that they've had this material for years, they did the hardest part, which is adapting it to this space
Right.
that we're presenting now. And so even still, the books were a great tool to have to kind of come up with our own ideas of how we can breathe life into these characters and collaborate with David, Dan, and Alex, which they were absolutely open to. And I think it's only served us, helped us breathe life into these characters.
Oh yeah, it's such a vast and epic world, and I can see why the guys were so passionate to get this made. Because it's just, like you say, it's just mind-blowing. It's so compelling, and there's so much existentialism that kind of came to me, and you can imagine yourself, how would you react in this situation? Oh, maybe I relate to this character. Oh no, actually I'm more like this. And then you're changing your mind all the time, so it's very compelling, and they've definitely done a compelling adaptation as well.
Jess, I know Three Body Problem is an ensemble piece, but I'm curious as to your story because we see a lot of the series through your POV, and I'm curious when you call going, hey, you got to anchor this series that's made by the Game of Thrones guys. What was that like? No pressure, but you know.
Luckily, I'm super naive. So when they told me it was an ensemble series, I was like, yeah, great. I have come from a theater background. I'm so used to ensemble work, I'm just happy to be here. And it wasn't until kind of we were about to start shooting, Dan was like, oh, by the way, you have like the most shoot days, right? And I went, oh, cool. Great. It's nice to be busy.
That is
way too
possibly the
overwhelmed by
best
that
approach.
point. Yeah, exactly. By that point, I was way too overwhelmed with just the work and the task at hand and meeting all these amazing, talented people that I get to work with. So I was just super, super excited.
Very cool. Jovan, I read somewhere, and I'm sorry if this is weird, but I guess you said it in an interview somewhere, but I read somewhere that you studied philosophy and politics at university, which I felt is like the perfect knowledge base coming into a story like this one, because there's so much existentialism and everything else. Did you dig deep and go back to some of that for the part?
Well, that's something that's always going to be a part of me. Actually, I really have always enjoyed the ideas of like Marcus Aurelius and those type of idealisms and stuff. But I think it was helpful, and maybe not so much in the beginning, because when we see Saul, you never really get to see that side of him. You see him just like clocking into his job and just doing whatever he needs to do to keep the lights on. You don't really get to get into a deep thought process with Saul, and I feel like you probably wouldn't until we've carried on in the stories. But yeah, as far as my work goes and how I prepared for Saul, I think that that's something that I had to keep close to the chest. And you want to create a complete character, even if some of the stuff that you're doing isn't going to show up on screen.
That's very, very cool, guys. Yeah, no, I love the books, and what was interesting for me about what you guys did was try to capture some of that intricate theory that goes on in the novels and make it as accessible as possible to the mass audience. Because when you're reading those books, sometimes you've got to reread the same bits over and over.
Oh, yeah.
Not even sometimes, it was all the time for me.
Yeah.
And switch to audiobook afterwards to make sure what I was saying was correct.
Just read the whole book again.
I'm all out of time, guys. But thank you so much for this, and congratulations on the show. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you. Likewise.
Netflix's Three Body Problem premieres on March 21st. Check it out. Let us know what you think. Sound off in the comments. And thank you so much for watching.